Let me tell you something most people never realize until it's too late. Wealth is not lost in big mistakes. It's lost in small habits repeated every day. After more than 90 years on this earth, watching thousands of people work hard, struggle, succeed, and fail, I can tell you this with certainty. The people who build real wealth don't do anything dramatic. They don't wake up at 4 a.m. They don't follow motivational fads. They don't chase shortcuts. They do something far more boring and far more powerful. They make slightly better decisions than everyone else, consistently, for decades. And here's the uncomfortable truth most financial influencers won't tell you. If you're struggling financially, it's probably not because you're lazy. It's not because the system is rigged, and it's not because you lack intelligence. It's because you're unknowingly following habits that silently destroy wealth, while dismissing the small behaviors that actually create it. That's the tragedy. People obsess over stock tips, side hustles, and market crashes, while ignoring the tiny daily choices that determine whether money flows toward them or away from them. I've seen people earn millions and end up broke, and I've seen ordinary earners quietly build fortunes without stress, hype, or luck. The difference was never talent, it was never timing, it was mindset and systems. Today I want to share with you 17 principles that have guided not only my financial life, but my entire approach to living well. These are not theories. They are not motivational slogans. They are patterns observed over decades of what actually works. If you understand these principles, you will start seeing money differently. You'll stop fighting your finances. You'll stop relying on willpower. And you'll start building wealth the way it's actually built, quietly, steadily, and inevitably. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you won't just know what wealthy people do differently. You'll understand why they think differently and how you can start thinking the same way starting today. Let's begin. After 9 decades on this earth, I've discovered something essential. The gap between those who build real wealth and those who don't isn't about dramatic actions or extreme sacrifices. It's about small daily decisions that compound over time like interest in a well-managed account. Here's what might surprise you. Waking at 4 a.m. won't make you wealthy. Ice baths won't build your fortune. What creates wealth is consistency in tiny actions. Actions so small most people dismiss them completely. That's the tragedy of modern financial thinking. I'm sharing 17 principles that have shaped not just my financial life, but my entire approach to living well. These aren't academic theories. They're observations from decades of watching what works and what doesn't. 1. Create more than you consume. The wealthiest people create more than they consume. This isn't a minor detail. It's fundamental. Studies show 67% of wealthy individuals watch 1 hour or less of television daily, while 77% of those struggling financially watch more than an hour. When you consume, you're absorbing what others have created. When you create, you're developing knowledge, skills, and experience that compound over time. This isn't about exhausting yourself. Start with just 15 minutes daily. Write something, build something, code something. The medium matters less than the act itself. Every hour spent passively consuming could be spent building skills that increase your marketplace value. Entertainment has its place, but balance matters. When consumption becomes your default mode, you're training your brain to be passive rather than active. Action step. Track your creation time versus consumption time this week. Be brutally honest. If you're not creating more than consuming, you've identified your first area for improvement. 2. Your circle determines your net worth. Your circle influences your net worth more than your intelligence ever will. You become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Show me your closest friends, and I'll show you your future. If you're surrounded by people who constantly complain, gossip, and focus on problems rather than solutions, You're absorbing that thinking whether you realize it or not. This isn't about cruelty or abandonment. It's about recognizing that proximity influences outcomes. Pay attention to the problems people discuss. Successful people talk about building wealth, solving challenges, and overcoming obstacles. Unsuccessful people talk about other people, unfairness, and why things won't work. When I was younger and couldn't access the circles I wanted, I made books my closest circle. I read voraciously, consuming content from people who thought differently than everyone around me. Today you have podcasts, YouTube channels, and online communities. Use them deliberately to shift your average upward. Action step. Curate your digital environment as carefully as your physical one. The internet has democratized access to wisdom. Take advantage of it. 3. The I can do this file method. I maintain what I call an I can do this file. Every time I achieve something significant, I write it down. Every milestone gets documented. And here's the key. Every time I'm paralyzed by fear or doubt about starting something new, I write that down too, along with what happened when I pushed through anyway. I remember my first public presentation about an investment thesis. My hands were shaking, but I did it. I documented the fear, the experience, and the outcome. Years later, when facing another intimidating situation, I could look back and see proof that I'd overcome similar challenges before. Life has inevitable peaks and valleys. On those down days, revisiting this file reminds me of what I'm capable of. This isn't arrogance, it's evidence-based confidence. Action step. Create your own version, starting today. Digital or physical doesn't matter. Capture your wins and breakthrough moments. Your mind will try to forget them during difficult times. Don't let it. 4. Daily gratitude practice for success. I used to think gratitude journaling was nonsense until I examined the research. The science is clear. Gratitude rewires your brain to notice opportunities rather than obstacles. Every evening at 8 p.m. I get a notification. I open my journal and write down what I'm grateful for from that day. Sometimes it's significant. Often it's small, a good conversation, a problem solved, a perfect cup of coffee. Your mind attracts what you focus on. When you actively look for good things, your brain starts finding them everywhere. Instead of ruminating on what went wrong, you train yourself to notice what went right. This mental shift has profound implications for decision-making. When you're in a positive state, you make better choices and see possibilities instead of limitations. Action step. Set a 5-minute reminder tonight. Write down one thing you're grateful for. Do this for 30 days and watch your perspective shift. 5. Automate your savings and investments. Warren Buffett famously says, "Don't save what's left after spending, spend what's left after saving." I take this further. Don't save and invest what's left after spending, spend what's left after saving and investing. The difference is automation. Every month, a fixed portion of my income automatically goes to savings and investments before I can spend a single penny. This benefits me in 2 critical ways. I consistently grow my wealth without relying on willpower, and I'm less likely to make impulse purchases when the money is already allocated. Most people earn money, spend on whatever comes up, then save whatever is left at month's end. The problem? There's rarely anything left. Life expands to fill your income. This is lifestyle inflation, and it's deadly to wealth accumulation. Action step. Reverse the order. Pay yourself first. Automate it today, not tomorrow. Set up automatic transfers to your savings and investment accounts right after you receive income. Make it impossible to fail through good intentions alone. 6. Set specific financial goals. Specificity is power. Every year I write down one major financial goal and make it specific enough that success is measurable. Rather than, "I'll save more money," I say, "I'll save $30,000 for a down payment by the end of 2027. Why does this matter? Because vague goals produce vague results. Specific goals can be broken into milestones. $30,000 over 2 years means $1,250 per month. Now I have a target I can track weekly. I know immediately if I'm on pace or falling behind. When you make a goal specific, you can measure progress. When you can measure progress, you can adjust course. When you can adjust course, you can guarantee arrival. Action step. Write down your specific financial goal right now. Include the exact amount and the exact deadline. Then reverse engineer the monthly or weekly action required. This transforms an aspiration into a plan.
7. The 3-bucket spending system. I audit my spending quarterly for business and monthly for personal accounts. I categorize every expense into 3 buckets: fundamental, essential needs; fun, lifestyle choices; and future, investments in growth. This isn't about restriction. It's about intentional living. When I audit my spending, I see in real time whether I'm aligned with my values or drifting away from them. I see where money is leaking unnecessarily and where I'm getting exceptional value. Most people have no idea where their money goes. They earn it and it disappears. Then they wonder why they're not making financial progress. The act of tracking alone changes behavior. When you know you'll review your spending at month's end, you think twice before making unnecessary purchases. Budgeting isn't a diet. It's a compass. It shows you where you are and helps you navigate toward where you want to be. Regardless of your income level, whether you earn $30,000 or $300,000 annually, tracking gives you control. Action step. Start tracking your expenses this month using the 3-bucket system. The clarity this provides is extraordinarily empowering. 8. Weekly money education habit knowledge compounds like interest. Warren once said, "The more you learn, the more you earn." I block out 1 hour every week to learn something new about money. This isn't a huge commitment, but the returns are remarkable. Currently, I'm studying behavioral finance, understanding how early experiences shape our money mindset. It's fascinating to discover that experiences as young as age 7 influence whether someone becomes a confident investor or feels anxious about spending. There's always something new to learn: a new investment vehicle, a negotiation tactic, a tax strategy. Every piece of knowledge opens new doors. The financial world is constantly evolving. What worked 10 years ago might not work today. Continuous learning keeps you adaptable. Action step: commit 1 hour this week to learning something about money you don't currently understand. Read an article, watch an educational video, or listen to a podcast. The medium doesn't matter. Consistent exposure to new ideas does. 9. Filter. Whose opinions matter. One of the hardest lessons I've learned is to stop caring about the opinions of people who don't matter. Everyone cares about opinions to some extent. It's human nature. But when you care too much, you play it safe, avoid risks, and stay small. I ask myself a simple question. In the grand scheme of achieving my life goals, how important is this person's opinion? If the answer is not very important, I focus on what I want to achieve based on my values, not their opinions. This doesn't mean arrogance or dismissing feedback. It means filtering ruthlessly. Listen to people who have achieved what you want to achieve. Ignore people who haven't. Someone who has never built wealth has no business advising you on building wealth. Someone who has never started a business cannot tell you how to run one. Action step. Be selective about whose opinions you allow to influence your decisions. This selectivity will free you to take calculated risks that others are too afraid to take. 10. Escape the yes trap. Research shows we have a deep-rooted feeling that we should say yes to every request, invitation, and opportunity, even when our plate is already overflowing. The consequences are burnout, resentment, and neglecting self-care. But there's something worse. By saying yes to everything, you say no to opportunities that actually align with your goals. Every yes to something unimportant is a no to something important. Your time and energy are finite resources. I've learned that clarity about my goals makes it easy to say no to anything that doesn't further them. When someone asks for my time, I evaluate whether the request moves me toward my objectives. If it doesn't, I decline politely but firmly. Action step: get crystal clear on your goals. Then, when a request comes in, ask yourself, will this help me achieve my goals, or is it a distraction? If it's a distraction, decline politely. You don't need to justify your number. A simple, I appreciate the offer, but I need to focus on other priorities right now, is sufficient. 11. Invest in yourself first. The best investment you'll ever make isn't in stocks or real estate, it's in yourself. The returns on self-investment compound exactly like financial investments. Their benefits add up over time. Whether you're pursuing education, improving your health, or practicing self-care, putting yourself first is always sound. Your earning capacity is your greatest asset. Anything that increases that capacity is worth considering. Think about it logically. A stock might return 10% annually. An investment in your skills could double your income within a few years. The mathematics are undeniable. Investing in yourself generates returns that no market can match. This includes your physical health. You cannot enjoy wealth if you're too sick to use it. Exercise, proper nutrition, adequate sleep. These aren't luxuries. They're requirements for sustained high performance. Action step: identify one area where investing in yourself could yield significant returns. Then allocate time and resources to develop it. 12. Network with intent. I recently heard about an entrepreneur who reached out to 50 or more people every month asking for introductions and connections. He built a $10 million business in his first year. The who factor in everything we do cannot be overstated. Be intentional about who you connect with. But remember, networking isn't just about what you can get, it's about what you can give. How can you add value to the person you're reaching out to? True relationships are built on mutual benefit, not one-sided extraction. Most people network poorly. They ask for favors from strangers. They take without giving. This approach fails because it violates the principle of reciprocity. Instead, lead with value. Help someone solve a problem, make an introduction, share useful information. Build goodwill first. When you approach networking this way, people remember you positively. They want to help you because you've already helped them. This creates a virtuous cycle of mutual support. Action step: reach out to one person this week with the sole intention of adding value to their life. No asks, just giving. 13. Take action before you're ready. There's no perfect time to start something new. You'll never feel completely ready. I've learned to take action before I feel ready. When a good idea comes, I don't procrastinate. I take the first step immediately. Will I make mistakes? Absolutely. But I'll also create wins, and the mistakes teach me just as much as the successes. Every failure contains lessons that prepare you for the next attempt. The only true failure is not trying at all. Trust your gut. Take that first step even when you don't feel prepared. You'll learn more from doing than you ever will from planning. Action creates information. You cannot know how something will turn out until you try. Action step: identify one thing you've been putting off because you don't feel ready. Take the first step today, no matter how small. 14. Talk about money. More research shows that 45% of Americans don't talk about money with family, friends, or partners. Yet 66% believe conversations about money are key to financial freedom. The disconnect is staggering. If you want to achieve financial goals, you must talk about money more, not for comparison, but for understanding, for learning strategies and values. Start with open-ended questions. How do you manage your budget? What financial lessons did you learn growing up? Be willing to share your own experiences too. Money conversations don't have to be awkward. Frame them as learning opportunities. Most people actually want to talk about money, but they're afraid of being judged. When you approach these conversations with genuine curiosity rather than judgment, people open up. These discussions can reveal strategies you never considered. Someone might share a budgeting method that transforms your finances. Another person might introduce you to an investment opportunity. Action step. Initiate one money conversation this week with someone you trust. Ask questions and listen actively.